Ever feel like English has these like secret codes? You know, these phrases that just totally change a verb's meaning?
Yeah, it can be a bit tricky, right?
It's like, I don't know, a whole other language within a language almost.
Definitely, definitely.
But don't worry, today we're going to decode some of these sneaky little phrases. We're diving into the world of phrasal verbs.
Oh yeah, phrasal verbs. They can be a real challenge for English learners.
For sure, but they're everywhere. You can't really escape them if you want to, sound natural.
Exactly. They're absolutely essential for fluency.
Absolutely. And, you sent over this really great online lesson that we're using as our guide today. And I have to say, it's got a really fun approach.
Oh, that's great to hear.
It does. It's like the lesson itself is kind of winking at you and saying, don't worry, we'll figure this out together,
I love that. It's like a friendly guide through the sometimes confusing world of phrasal verbs.
Exactly. So no need to be intimidated. We're in good hands, I think. So
Yes.
Let's just jump right in. The first phrasal verb on our list is bring up.
Bring up. Okay, classic phrasal verb.
It is. And the lesson gives the example, she always brings up her travels when we meet. We all have that friend.
Oh yeah, for sure. The one who somehow manages to steer every conversation back to their backpacking trip through Europe, right?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. But what I think is fascinating here is that how we bring up things can really impact how others perceive us.
Absolutely. Timing and context are everything.
They are.
Like imagine bringing up a really sensitive topic at the completely wrong moment.
Oh, yeah.
That could be disastrous.
A recipe for disaster.
Exactly.
And the lesson actually picks up on this perfectly in this little dialogue snippet it has. Someone asks, did they talk about the new project? And the response is, no one brought it up. It's like that classic meeting scenario.
No, I know exactly what you mean. Everyone's just tiptoeing around the issue.
Totally. And that kind of avoidance, it can lead to misunderstandings or, even missed opportunities.
Oh, for sure. It's almost like a power play, Who's going to be brave enough to be the one to bring it up?
Exactly. So, okay, bring up. It's all about introducing a topic, but it's got this added layer of, social awareness, which is interesting.
It's very nuanced.
It is. All right, let's move on to the next phrasal verb on our list,
Yeah.
which is look up. And I feel like this one, it's really evolved with technology.
Oh, absolutely.
The example the lesson gives is, I looked up the word in the dictionary, which definitely conjures up images of these huge, dusty dictionaries that we used to have.
I remember those.
Remember those?
So heavy, you'd need a forklift to move them.
Right.
Uh.
So different from how we look things up now.
It's incredible to think about how much has changed, right? We used to be limited to these physical books, and now, boom, instant access to this almost infinite amount of information all on our phones or laptops. It's amazing.
It is. It really is. And yet, the core idea of looking up information, of just wanting to understand something better, it hasn't changed. It's still the same.
Absolutely. It's that human curiosity, right?
Yes, exactly. And the lesson, it has a little snippet where someone's asking about the meaning of serendipity, and the other person's like, let's look it up. It's just such a natural, everyday interaction.
And that really shows how phrasal verbs are often so informal, so conversational.
They are. Okay, now let's shift gears a little bit and talk about turn down.
You're down, okay.
Which, to me, always feels like a phrasal verb with a lot of hidden layers.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Like the lesson gives the example, he turned down the job offer. It seems simple enough on the surface.
Right.
But there are so many different ways to say no politely.
Oh, yeah, and especially when you consider different cultures, it gets even more complex.
Totally. In some cultures, being direct is valued, and in others, you have to be much more indirect to avoid offending anyone.
Exactly. The way you turn down an offer can really make or break a relationship. It's not just about the words, it's the whole delivery.
It's a delicate dance, really. Figuring out how to say no gracefully without burning any bridges.
I like that, a delicate dance. That's a perfect way to put it.
And the lesson actually, they have a little in conversation snippet that I think really captures this dance. Someone asks, did you accept the invitation? And the answer is no, I had to turn it down. You can almost hear the unspoken reasons,
Oh, absolutely. Sometimes what's left unsaid is just as important as what's actually spoken.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, get ready for this next phrasal verb because I think we can all relate to this one, especially on a Monday morning. It's run out of.
Run out of. Oh, that's a good one. It's definitely a universal experience.
The lesson sets the scene perfectly. You're desperate for coffee. You open the cupboard, and there's an empty bag of beans. Ugh. We've all been there, right?
Oh, countless times. It's that sinking feeling in your stomach, like realizing you're utterly out of something you need. Could be coffee beans, could be time, could be patience, anything.
It really could. And the in conversation snippet for this one, it made me laugh out loud. Someone asked, "Why didn't you make coffee?" And the answer is, "We ran out of coffee beans." It's so simple, but it just perfectly encapsulates that feeling of, disappointment and frustration.
It's perfect, isn't it? And it shows how these little phrases, these phrasal verbs, can be so incredibly evocative. You can pack so much emotion into just a few words.
You can. All right, enough with the caffeine deprivation. Let's move on to a phrasal verb that's a little more positive.
Okay, I like it. Bring on the positivity.
Let's talk about get along with.
Get along with. All right, a classic for relationships of all kinds.
It is. And, I think we've all had roommates we've gotten along with amazingly, right? And then maybe some others that were, shall we say, a little more challenging.
Oh, roommate dynamics. That's a whole other deep dive we could do sometime.
We could. We totally could. But yeah, it's all about those interpersonal relationships, whether it's, with roommates, colleagues, or even family members.
Yep.
The lesson's example is, I get along well with my colleagues. And who wants to dread going to work every day because of a tense environment?
Right. Nobody. A harmonious workplace is so important for productivity and just general well-being.
For sure. And the in-conversation snippet for get along with, it really hits home. Someone asks, "Do you like your new roommate?" And the response is, "Yes, we get along great." You can practically hear the sigh of relief, right?
Oh, absolutely. It's that feeling of finding that perfect balance.
Yeah.
Where a relationship just feels easy and comfortable.
It does. It really does. And speaking of balance, let's tackle a phrasal verb that can sometimes, throw people for a loop.
Oh, okay. Which one is that?
Call off.
Call off. All right.
The lesson focuses on its meaning of canceling something, they called off the meeting due to bad weather. Pretty common scenario.
Definitely. But what's interesting about call off is that it has the sense of finality to it, don't you think?
It does.
It's not just a postponement. It's like, nope, it's completely canceled.
Yes. And the in conversation snippet really captures that feeling of, plans just crumbling.
Oh, yeah.
Are we still going on the trip? No, they called it off. It's like the universal sound of, a plan falling apart.
Definitely.
Okay.
I've definitely been there.
Me too.
Sometimes calling things off is definitely for the best, Bad weather. You can't really argue with that.
Right. Safety first.
Exactly.
All right. Let's move on to a phrasal verb that I think might be like the anthem of procrastination.
Oh, okay. I'm intrigued. Which one?
Put off. I bet you can relate to this one.
Put off. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think we've all been guilty of that at some point.
The lesson uses the example, I keep putting off my dentist appointment. And I think we've all been there.
Oh, yeah. There are certain tasks that, they just seem to have this magnetic force that repels us.
They do.
Like, I'll do it tomorrow or next week or maybe next year. Exactly. But what's interesting about put off is that it implies a delay. You're not necessarily avoiding the task altogether. It's more like, I'll get to it eventually.
Eventually. Yeah, it's like that little voice in the back of our heads, right?
Exactly.
Just whispering sweet procrastinations in our ears.
Exactly. And the lessons in conversation snippet, it's so perfect for this one. Did you finish the report? No, I put it off until tomorrow. It's classic.
It is. Oh, man, procrastination. It's a slippery slope.
It really is. But speaking of creativity, let's move on to a phrasal verb that has a bit of a multiple personality, shall we say. Make up.
Make up. Oh, I like that. Multiple personality phrasal verb.
It could be a tricky one because it has so many different meanings.
I think of it as like a master of disguise,
Well, that's a good one.
It can wear so many different hats.
Exactly. Like, in one sense, it can be about inventing things, like she made up an excuse for being late.
Right. So it can be a little bit of a fibber sometimes.
It can be. But it can also be about reconciliation. Like when you make up after an argument, it's about restoring harmony.
That's true. And the in-conversation section of the lesson plays on this dual nature really well. The line is, did he really see a ghost? No, he made it up.
Oh, I love that. It's like someone's having a bit of fun with their storytelling skills.
They are.
And that's what's so great about phrasal verbs. They can inject so much personality and color into our language.
Yeah, they can. Okay, are you ready for a phrasal verb that's tough, both literally and figuratively?
Oh, okay. Lay it on me. Hit me with it.
Give up.
Give up. Okay, yeah. That one can be loaded.
The lesson uses the example, don't give up on your dreams. which is, it's a great motivational message.
Oh, for sure. Perseverance is key.
But giving up isn't always a bad thing, right? Sometimes it's about recognizing when a situation is no longer serving us.
Absolutely. It's about knowing when to hold on and when to let go.
Exactly. And the in conversation snippet really kind of highlights this internal struggle. Learning English is hard. Yes, but never give up. It's that encouragement we all need sometimes.
We do. We all need a little pep talk now and then.
We do. All right, let's lighten the mood a bit with a phrasal verb that's all about, casual fun.
Oh, okay, good. A little bit of levity. I like it.
Okay.
Bring it on.
Hang out. Can't you just feel those laid back vibes?
Hang out. Oh, yeah. I can practically hear the music playing in the background already.
The lesson gives us this classic invitation, let's hang out this weekend. It's so simple, but it's so inviting.
Exactly. No pressure, just good times with good people.
Right. And the in conversation snippet, it perfectly captures that feeling of, just relaxed connection. What are you doing later? Just hanging out with friends.
It's about being in the moment, enjoying each other's company without any big plans or agendas.
Right. Okay, let's get back to reality. Or at least to our to-do lists.
Oh, okay. Back to the grind.
Back to the grind.
Yeah.
With catch-up.
Catch up. Okay, yes. That one can feel a bit overwhelming sometimes.
The lesson uses the example, I need to catch up on my emails, which is something I think we can all relate to, especially after a vacation, right?
Oh, tell me about it. Coming back to hundreds of unread emails, it's like facing a digital mountain.
It is. But, catch up, it does imply this sense of forward momentum, a determination to get back on track.
It's like hitting the reset button and saying, okay, time to get back in the game.
Yes. And the in-conversation example really illustrates this well. Long time no see, let's grab coffee and catch up. It's that feeling of, reconnecting and bridging that gap.
It's about rebuilding those connections and getting back in sync. Now for our final phrasal verb. And this one, it always feels a bit like, a happy accident. Come across.
Oh, yeah, I like that. A happy accident.
The lesson gives the example. I came across an old photo album yesterday, and it just evokes this feeling of surprise and unexpected discovery.
It does. And the in-conversation snippet really paints this lovely picture. Look at this vintage watch. Where did you find it? I came across it at a flea market. It's about those moments, when we stumble upon something wonderful without even looking for it.
It's like the universe is giving you a little gift, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is. Those little moments can just make your whole day.
They can. And it's amazing, right? Like these 12 seemingly simple phrases, bring up, look up, turn down, run out of, get along with, call off, put off, make up, give up, hang out, catch up, and come across.
Yeah, 12 little phrases, and they can express so much. It's incredible, really.
They really can. It's like they're these, little keys that unlock this whole other level of fluency.
That's a great way to put it, like secret codes to sounding more natural, more like a native speaker.
Exactly. And what I really appreciate about this lesson is that it goes beyond just dry definitions and grammar rules.
Oh, absolutely. It
Yeah.
doesn't just tell you what the phrasal verbs mean. It shows you how they're actually used.
It does. It brings them to life with these fun examples and the dialogue snippet.
And those little quizzes, too. Those were really clever.
They were, because they're not just about, testing your knowledge. It's like they're anticipating the mistakes you might make.
Exactly. They're designed to point out those little nuances that can trip learners up.
They are. And, the lesson ends with this really inspiring call to action, which I love. It challenges you to use at least 3 of these phrasal verbs in a conversation that very day.
Oh, I like that. It's a small step, but it can make a big difference.
It can. It's all about taking what you've learned and putting it into practice.
Right.
Making it part of your active vocabulary.
Exactly. Like with anything, the more you use it, the more comfortable you become.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe you'll even come across some new phrasal verbs along the way.
That's the beauty of language, right? It's a constant journey of discovery.
It is. So there you have it. 12 phrasal verbs down, countless more to go.
But hey, we've made a great start.
We have. And, as always, the best way to learn is just to keep exploring, keep experimenting, and most importantly, have fun with it.
Couldn't agree more. Happy learning.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.